Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday. The S&P 500 was down a little bit more than 0.5% today, breaking a day streak of wins. The entire week of Thanksgiving, the market was up. Was actually a pretty strong movement. The news is going to be on all kinds of different issues. There was some problems with the Japanese bond market. Bitcoin sold down some more again. Seems to be heading towards 80,000. There's some support there. We'll see what happens. All these different things. But really, when you look at it closely, you can see that the market was almost back to an all-time high again. And almost every time it gets back to an all-time high, it kind of has a sell-off. It's also the first of the month, so there's some weird things that happens at the end of these months where we saw some big jumps in some stocks just on Friday, even though the market was only open for a half a day. And so sometimes that's kind of redone here at the beginning of the month, and we'll see how that plays out. We have had trouble in the past with some downturns in December on a temporary basis, usually bottoming out just before the end of the year, starting off kind of in the middle of the month. So we'll see if that pattern continues. Maybe the downturn in November, which is usually an up month, would be enough to kind of let the market slide along here, and we end up, above 7,000 on the S&P 500 for the year, which wouldn't surprise me at all. Of course, the Federal Reserve will be meeting December 10th. We'll find out what happens there. Right now, the bet is back on that they will be doing a rate cut due to softness that they're seeing in the labor market. But we'll see what happens. I think that'll be a very interesting meeting because it's also a meeting where they do what's called the dot plot, and they project out, what they see happening in terms of rates going into the future. We've got all kinds of things going on with the Fed governor, and who the next governor is going to be, and when that's going to happen. It's supposed to happen in May. Does the government do that early? What does that mean to the market? Those types of things. So some things that are going to play out here, I think, this month altogether. But having a half point down day after a really nice run, right when we're very near to the all-time high, pretty normal. Usually, you can't just jump right through the all-time high, mainly because there's a lot of people that bought back at that high point that now want to get their money back. And so that's resistance until you get through, and then it becomes support. And so, I think we'll break through to a new all-time high here. Um, anytime you say anything of guessing where the market's going to go, there's always these wild cards that happen, especially from international situations and such that can happen. But I think in a normal, scenario, or as normal as we can get in today's world, we have a situation where the market should continue to go higher. Again, I think the overall AI trade, the overall consumer spend, especially from, the top 10, 20% income earners, is going to be enough here during this holiday season to kind of continue to drive the markets up, and we'll see what happens after that. They're also finding that there isn't as much money, being paid in tariffs as expected for a variety of reasons. And so I'll actually go through that in detail on the show on Friday. I think it's kind of fascinating because that's kind of a big deal. You can have really high tariffs, but if they're being, it's not generating as much revenue as expected, means we're not paying as much either. And so it may be a small enough amount that the economy can absorb that. So we'll talk about that on Friday because it's a bit more complicated. But nonetheless, look forward to being able to see what's going to happen tomorrow. And we'll talk to you then. Thank you very much.